Okay, so back to Minnesota Occupational Health. I think you mentioned earlier on, um, it seems like the services you provide kind of fall under three main categories: the pre-placement exam, right? The injury treatment, and then regulatory type issues, right? One of the areas I think you really shine is the whole pre-placement examination part. And when I took a tour there, you have that I forget work performance center or something in the back
Perfect.
office.
Yep, you
Is that
got
what
it.
it's called? Yeah. And that was really cool. I mean, not only would you see a lot of the typical things you might see in a gym, but you also seen things like wheelbarrows, ladders, plywood. Did you have like a shoveling pit or something like
Yep, shovels, we have stairs to nowhere, we have ladders, we have scaffolding, we have all sorts of props, fire turnout gear, police officer, utility belts,
that? Yeah.
harnesses for fall protection. Yeah,
Yeah. And the idea is, if somebody's going to have to climb up and down ladders for their job that they just got, they could potentially be getting hired for, well, let's see if they can actually do it. You know what I mean?
right.
Versus put them on a treadmill and listen to their heart or something. It's completely different biomechanics that are involved. And you guys, I think, do a great job. I don't know if anybody in the state of Minnesota does a better job of directly trying to imitate or simulate the exact tasks or requirements that are going to be placed on that potential new employee while they're on the job. And that's rare, I think.
It is rare. It is rare. We want to be able to tell that employer that this employee or this candidate is both medically cleared. So we do a medical physical, DOT or non-DOT, beforehand, just to make sure that they don't have fresh scars from their surgery last week, or that they aren't, 220 over 180 blood pressure, or they're spilling sugars in the urine. So once we medically clear them, we want to be able to test the essential functional demands. Those are the magic words, essential functional demands of that job. So we work with employers to define what those are if they haven't already. It's very common for employers to give us a job description that says, must lift 50 pounds. And so my response is, well, 50 pounds from what height to what height? How many times a day are they lifting, twisting, pushing? Are they pulling? Are they over their heads? And what else are they doing besides that lifting 50 pounds? So we really want to define those demands so that we can test them. And yet there's a limit to what you can do in an hour, which is about the average length of a work performance test. So we designed them in a way that not only tests those demands, but also creates fatigue. So that instead of lifting something one time, they might be lifting it 15 times at 3 or 5 different heights, at different weights. Besides the pushing, the pulling, the climbing, the kneeling, static postures where they're just holding something for a long time and have to hold that pose. There are a lot of jobs where it's not the activity, it's the static posture, just staying in one position all the time. That's so taxing on the lower back or the knees and things like that.
Right.
So we want to be able to evaluate those things and create enough fatigue so that we can start seeing them compensate. With my knee and my shoulder and my low back, my herniated discs, even though I work out a lot, may not show it, but even though I work out a lot, if you ask me to lift something a couple of times, it's not a problem. But if you put me through an hour-long evaluation, you're going to start seeing me compensating for those injuries. And so that's what we're keen in on. So now we can have a conversation with that applicant and say, so tell me about your shoulder, because it looks like you're favoring it, or you're really keeping it close in, or your legs are going way wide out when you're bending over to pick something up. So we're trying to uncover what's happening so that employer can make an informed decision, but so the employee is also protected when they get hired for that job, because the employer knows not to ask them to do those things.
Sure.
We just opened our third work performance center. So our Egan clinic, our Shakopee clinic, and now our St. Paul clinic, we took over the entire original first floor and we've rebuilt it. So that opened literally last week.